Yo guys, welcome back. Just wanted to show you guys some of my updates on my UDR here. I had just done the rear spare tire carrier video, so hopefully you guys check that out. But that's really cool. 3D print designs makes this super cool piece back there. But I want to show you guys what's down below here. The E Viratrue trailing arms, upper links, lower A arms, upper A arms, and then also these hydraulic bump stops. If you guys are curious about these, I've been curious about these for a long time to see how well they work. But I'll get you guys in here and show you that. Pretty simple install on most of this stuff. As usual, very high quality, nice machine parts from E Viratrue. I really like their stuff. And yeah, I'm going to show you guys a bit of this and just go over some basics. There really isn't much to it as far as the install. I'll give you a couple pointers as to what screws go where for the front. The rear is a little bit easier. And yeah, we'll check it out. And then at some point, hopefully in the near future, I'll get some running video and some testing because it's really kind of muddy and nasty outside. It's just towards the end of winter and we just had a lot of rain and ground is thawing out. So I don't really have a great spot to run this, but hopefully maybe even this weekend, I'll get out to the sand pit and rip this thing and give everything a good test. So let's get into this, guys, and I'll show you what it's all about. Okay, so up front here, we got the upper and lower control arms, 7075 machined aluminum. They do have a nice carbon fiber top plate on here. I'm not running a sway bar on this. I just had issues with the stock one breaking all the time, and I feel like it handles great without it. So for now, running without that. And you'll see here the hydraulic bump stop. So I'll give you a better look when I show you how to install that, but essentially that just really comes into play at the last portion of the travel. Let's see if I can show you. No, I'll show you. You'll get a better look when I show you how I install those, and it'll be better when I have the body off. And then same deal on the rear here. We have the hydraulic bump stop there. Comes in contact with that little tab that mounts on top of the axle and just gives you that final little bit of extra damping so you don't bottom out as harshly. Here, the rear hydraulic bump stops mounted up. Same deal, just that very last bit of travel. So yeah, worked out really nice. E Viratrue control arms for the rear, multi-shock mount positions. Also has this, the bottom section here is drilled out so any dirt and debris can fall out instead of getting packed and jammed up in there like it usually does. Have the upper links here and also these front lower control arms, upper control arms. Let me flip this over and I'll show you guys. Of course, we also have the E Viratrue machined aluminum wheels on this. I did a review on that previously. This is just a stainless steel bash guard. I really like this. I found this on, I believe it was eBay or Amazon. I'll try to link it up. Really does protect the front end nicely, and it's really heavy duty. I forget who makes it, but you can find it relatively cheap. They make a full bottom plate out of the same thing, but I found that was not worth it. It added a ton of weight to the bottom of this. You don't really need to protect this. You're better off just leaving it plastic. And the battery tray cover for that whole piece just kept falling off. It just gets like double stuck tape on or glued on. It didn't really work great. So this whole thing was a waste, but I really do like this front bash guard on here. It's a nice piece. Oh, I also have the E Viratrue steering knuckles up front. Really nice. It's a new design from E Viratrue. He redesigned this upper bracket. Let me show you guys here. This is the old one and this is the new one. You can see they're very different. So even here, if you fully compress it, you'll see how close that is. And then on this side, so he nailed it with this new redesign. If you watch, look at the shock at the bottom there, this space right here, you are getting complete compression there and complete compression on the bump stop at the exact same moment. So this works out perfect. You get full up travel, doesn't affect any of the travel of the suspension, but you get the added little hydraulic bump stop at the very end of the travel, which is exactly how it should be. So very happy with that. One thing I just want to point out, guys, if you're noticing, this is something to keep an eye on. If you notice that you're not getting full compression, it's easiest to see on the secondary damper here. Check your spring cup here. The way these are designed, the little end cap of the shock really sits down deep in the spring cup, and if you have any dirt or debris packed up in there, like I had a couple little pieces of like stone and some dirt, a little bit of everything down in there, and I wasn't getting full compression. Then of course it's just trying to jam all that debris and dirt up into your shock body too. So keep these clean. Every time you run this truck, take like a little pick or something, dig around in there. You could lift the spring up a little bit or take some compressed air and just blast that out. You can come up from the bottom. There's a little like kind of holes cut in there too, but just keep an eye on that. So if it's limiting your travel, it's not going to be good for anything. So let me get the rest of this buttoned up and I'll show you guys the end result. I do have to do the rear as well. He also redesigned that, but really happy with this. He nailed it with this redesign. It's exactly how it should be. On this new bracket, there is a screw on the bottom. Don't forget to tighten that once it's installed. Leave it loose at first, but also put some thread lock on this. And when you install it, you're gonna have to come up at it from the bottom with a standard Allen key. You really can't get like a driver in at the right angle. You're gonna have to just use a standard, let me see if I can show you. Just come up at it from the bottom with a standard Allen key and you can get it snugged up like that. As far as the screw goes, these two from the top are 20 mils. The one back here is a 30 mil and the one up front is the 40 mil. And don't forget to use some thread lock on these two screws that hold the bump stop to the bracket. And then also once you get your height adjustment set, lock these lock nuts down nice and snug so they don't come loose. And then don't forget from the bottom, you have this screw that goes up. Just get a regular Allen key in there and snug it up. And much easier before you install these, if you pull this out, put a little thread lock on it, put it in, leave it loose. And what I found in terms of installing here, and what I found was it was much easier to get these two screws started and then leave them somewhat loose and then just press this up a little bit and put in these two screws and then snug everything else down and then finally get the one from the bottom. Just helps everything align properly and you're not going to cross thread any of these. These two are the trickiest because it is also threading through the plastic at the same time. So just thread it down and make sure you get it into the aluminum going nice and straight and evenly, not cross threaded. And then once you snug these up, it'll pull these threads down through the plastic and just tighten it by threading into the aluminum bracket here. So don't worry about that, but just don't think it's weird that this is also, you're threading it through two parts at one time. So just take your time and make sure it's going in nice and even. So to support the rear fenders here, you guys know if you have a UDR, these things blow out all the time. You see the Lexan is so thin there. There's no hope in keeping these attached. I made these Kydex filler panels. This is a heat moldable plastic. Just kind of cut out a rough shape, heated it up, and just pressed it in there to conform to the body. Added a few screws. I'm probably gonna put some nuts on the back, put some washers just for added security. And then I'll go and just drill a hole through here. And then I'm gonna figure out some sort of little, maybe I'll do another piece of Kydex on the outside here to really sandwich everything together and just to make this just ultra durable. Should help out quite a bit. Bottom section of the body that blows out all the time too. These things just rip right out. I just took some Gorilla Tape and ran it over and folded it over to the inside. It seemed to work out pretty well on my last UDR. You can use like an extra little, like a bigger body washer on the outside of this too, but it holds up pretty decent and it's a pretty easy, quick fix. Okay, for the outside here, I just finished this off with a body washer underneath another body washer, but it's fine. It was the easy way. It looks fine. I'm happy with that. And just put the one screw in here, so it does have a little bit of a pivot to it. I think that's gonna kind of help with some hits too, and I like it. I think it's gonna be a nice, secure way to keep these fenders on. Here's the bottom section. Yeah, worked out nice. So I got some running video for you guys here. Not my ideal spot to run a UDR. I like to usually go out into more like a little bit of natural terrain, but I got out here to my local outdoor track. Track is in really rough shape. They're going to do a bunch of work on this thing, but it actually makes it more fun with the UDR when it's a little beat up. But unfortunately, the face of the jumps were kind of rough here and there. And if you weren't careful, hit it in the wrong spot, it could really make this truck donkey kick really bad. So I was trying to avoid that. Wasn't really sending it too hard, but I did want to get a good test of the suspension and especially those bump stops. Now, it's without being in the truck, it's kind of hard to tell how well the bump stops are working. Because again, it's just that last little bit of travel, but it seemed to be landing pretty well. Again, I didn't really tune it for this type of jump, this type of environment. So Yeah, we'll see. I'll see when I get out to run this thing in the sand pit that I usually take it to, and we'll see how it does there. But I was happy with it here. It was a lot of fun. It's always fun to drive the UDR, and what I love even more is just filming it and watching this thing move in slow motion. It just looks so cool, man. So realistic. Suspension on this thing is so awesome compared to other RCs. You just get this nice long travel, really soaks up the terrain. And yeah, I really have no complaints about any of this stuff. The E Viratrue parts are top quality. Everything fit nicely. It looks great. Now, it does add a little bit of weight to the truck, so you just got to keep that in mind. It is going to respond a little bit slower than it typically would with all the stock plastic parts, but you know, the trade-off is it's going to be a lot stronger. Now, speaking of weight, I think a little bit of additional weight, I want to say it was like 5 ounces of additional weight on the rear of this truck with the 3D print design tire carrier, I think actually helped this thing jump a little bit more level than it typically would. So I'm happy with that. And I love the way it looks, man. Super, super nice, high quality part there too. Holds up extremely well. I had 0 issues with it. And this thing took a couple good hits directly to the tire carrier with 0 damage. So highly recommend that. I'll link that up down below as well, as along with all the E Viratrue parts. So yeah, give it a look and see what you guys think. If you have any questions, hit me up in the comments. You'll definitely be seeing a lot more of this truck in the near future. I'm going to take it out and run it at, like I mentioned, my local sand pit. I have the new Traxxas Funko sand car showing up any day now, so I'm going to take both of them out and run them head-to-head and see what we got. So stay tuned, guys. Thanks for watching. Later.